History books often paint a picture of triumphs and progress. We learn about great inventions, brave explorers, and world-changing revolutions. But beneath these celebrated stories lie darker tales. These are the events that don't make it into our textbooks. They are the tragedies that time has forgotten. Yet they shaped our world just as much as the victories we remember. For every shining moment in history, there's a shadow we've overlooked. It's time to shine a light on these dark corners. In 1921, a prosperous black community in Tulsa, Oklahoma was destroyed. This event is now known as the Tulsa Race Massacre. It began with a false accusation against a young black man. Rumors spread quickly through the city. Soon, a white mob gathered, intent on violence. The Greenwood district of Tulsa, known as Black Wall Street, was a thriving center of black-owned businesses and homes. But in just 24 hours, it was reduced to ashes. Hundreds of black residents were killed and thousands more were left homeless. For decades, this massacre was absent from history books. The survivors were silenced by fear and trauma. City officials actively covered up the event. It wasn't until the late 1990s that efforts began to uncover the truth. The Tulsa Race Massacre reveals a dark truth about American history. By remembering this event, we confront the reality of systemic racism in America's past. Between 1975 and 1979, Cambodia suffered one of the worst genocides of the 20th century. The Khmer Rouge, led by Pol Pot, took control of the country. They aimed to create a purely agrarian society, emptying cities and forcing people into rural labor camps. Anyone seen as an intellectual or opponent was killed. An estimated 1.5 to 3 million people died, about a quarter of Cambodia's population. Many died from starvation or disease in the labor camps. Others were tortured and executed in secret prisons. Despite its magnitude, the Cambodian genocide received little international attention. The silence surrounding this tragedy had devastating consequences. It delayed justice for the victims and survivors. The psychological scars remain for many survivors and their descendants. During World War II, Japan's Unit 731 conducted horrific experiments on human subjects. This secret facility was located in occupied China. Officially called the Epidemic Prevention and Water Purification Department, its real purpose was far more sinister. Unit 731 carried out lethal human experiments in the name of medical research. Thousands of prisoners, mostly Chinese, were subjected to unimaginable cruelty. They were infected with diseases and endured vivisection without anesthesia. Some were exposed to extreme temperatures until their limbs froze and fell off. The exact number of victims is unknown, but estimates range from 3,000 to 250,000. After the war, the atrocities of Unit 731 were largely covered up. The United States granted immunity to many of the unit's doctors and researchers in exchange for their data. As a result, many of those responsible for these crimes were never punished. The tragedies we've explored are just a few examples of history's overlooked dark spots. The victims of these events deserve to be remembered. Their suffering should not be forgotten simply because it's uncomfortable to confront. By acknowledging these tragedies, we honor the memory of those who were lost. Remembering is not just about the past, it's also about shaping our present and future. When we forget these atrocities, we risk repeating them. Each of these events holds valuable lessons. They show us the dangers of unchecked power, racism, and dehumanization. By studying these dark moments, we can work to prevent similar tragedies in our time. There's also a healing power in remembrance. For survivors and their descendants, acknowledgement can bring closure. When societies confront their past honestly, it opens the door to reconciliation. It allows for genuine progress and healing to begin. Remembering these events also challenges us to be better. As we've journeyed through these dark chapters of history, one thing becomes clear. The past is not as distant as we might think. The echoes of these forgotten tragedies still resonate today. We see their impact in ongoing struggles for justice and equality. By understanding these connections, we can better address present-day challenges. Atrocities often unfold gradually with small injustices, paving the way for larger ones. We must be alert to the early signs of discrimination and dehumanization. When societies turn a blind eye to injustice, it allows horror to flourish. Strong, independent judiciaries and free presses can help prevent and expose atrocity. International bodies dedicated to human rights play a crucial role too, but these institutions are only as effective as we make them. By teaching these events in schools, we equip future generations with knowledge. Museums, memorials, and commemorations all play a part in this ongoing education. As we move forward, let us carry these lessons with us.